Hey everybody, Jerez Meghan Angley here, wrapping up day 4 of training camp for you guys. Not too crazy of a day, not too many talking points for us here. I think most notable switch up we saw, or at least just the first time we got to see the special teams at work, Casey Mittelstadt in that middle spot on the power play. Your thoughts on that? We talked about a little bit on the podcast. Who's going to fill that role? He was our favorite. Sounds like he's the coach's favorite as well.
You saw Nate in the opening session talking with Casey before they really got going, and you had a feeling, 1, that they'd be doing special teams today, and 2, that Casey would be on PP1. There was a lot of conversation with Duran and Rantanen as well once they did start getting that unit going, and I like the early look of it. You know, Casey had some great passes to the slot from the goal line, and he had a knack for working behind there when he played with Arturi Lehkonen in the playoffs, so I'm excited to see what he can do there.
Yeah, I mean, he's got great vision. And we've talked a lot about how the physical side of the game, I think, is what he's really working on. So having him in that middle spot, it might be a position for him to kind of really take that step forward in his game and kind of thrive in it.
Middle spot, middle stat.
Also notable, we did see some group changes a little bit. I don't know if it's in preparation for the preseason games here, and I don't think it's too much to read into. But we saw Casey Mittelstadt playing with Logan O'Connor and
Jere Anala.
Jere Anala. Is that Jere?
Jere.
I like the J-E-R-E. It's the same as my first and last name. Big fan of that. But, again, don't think it's too much to read into, but Jere Anala is not exactly a guy we've spent too much time talking about this camp, as well as Parker Kelly. Both of those guys slotted into that group 1. Your thoughts on those two and what people should be reading into, if anything?
You know, I think what you can take more away from is what the Group 2 ended up being, because there is a preseason game tomorrow, and you just got the sense that a lot of the guys in that Group 2 are prepping for a game tomorrow. Now, in seeing some of the bags in the locker room after Group 1, I expect it to be a little bit of a mix, so I'm not reading into it too much, seeing players like Kovalenko get moved into Group 2, and then Alausen, Richie, Foudy also in that Group 2. I don't think that means they're out of the roster battle conversation, and it just gave Bednar, too, I think, a look at the veteran type players that he already has some familiarity with just through either NHL experience or their previous time with the organization, because that fourth line in Group 1 appeared to look like Wagner, Kelly, and Belly. And so I think that you don't necessarily expect that to stick, and it's not a death sentence for any of the young players who got bumped out. I just think they're getting some preseason games to prepare for.
Yeah, Jared Bednar mentioned in his post-practice press conference today that, yes, while some players may have a leg up, the decision for anything won't even be close to solidified until the end of this entire 3-week period. So while we love to speculate, we love to talk about this and that, Jared Bednar is still keeping a very open mind on a lot of players, and there's a lot of decisions still yet to be made.
I think for the purpose of special teams work today, too, he did want to get an idea of guys he might expect on the penalty kill more realistically to play opposite of the PP1 and PP2. And so that's where I think that we see like a Belmar in that group in particular working there. And I think it was just to give a better glimpse at how that PP1 stacks up against some more polished guys with PK experience at the NHL level.
Yep, so of course the Avalanche get their first preseason game in tomorrow night. That'll be fun to get some actual hockey action. It's been kind of a long camp. 4 days doesn't seem like it'd be that long, but it dragged out a little bit more than years past. So I'm excited to get some actual hockey action tomorrow and, of course, break it all down for you guys here. Any closing thoughts today? Closing thoughts from camp? Closing thoughts in general?
I'm just excited. Like, I love the way that this Group 2, who is inevitably made up with players who will be on the Colorado Eagles, I'm excited for the Eagles product this year, too, just in seeing some of the special teams work. TJ Tynan on that power play up in Loveland, expectedly, I think is going to be a lot of fun for Eagles and Avs fans this season.
Indeed, indeed. So that's all for the 4-day training camp here. Thanks for hanging out with us all weekend long. Thanks for hanging out with us on this video today. We'll see you guys tomorrow. For Megan, I'm JJ, Guerilla Sports.